I have two priorities in life, and really it's about family and it's about business building. Our mission is to build the best home for businesses and their leaders. We're building Evergreen to be a generational company that we're all proud to have worked at.
Evergreen is Alpine's IT services platform, and we're now one of the largest IT services businesses in the world.
Evergreen began in 2017 when Jeff Totten and I had a thesis around acquiring IT services companies.
We thought, what is something that we think is going to be broadly true for a really long time? And that one thing that we settled on was that businesses, particularly small businesses, were going to need help with their technology.
From there, we went a layer deeper and we looked into specific areas within IT services, and we actually saw that they had a lot of the characteristics that we look for in businesses around recurring revenue, sticky customers, and growth tailwinds.
When we first invested in the business, it was a couple $1 million of earnings, and we're approaching north of 150 on our way to $200 million of earnings. So exceptional growth over a relatively short period of time.
In the 6.5 years since we started Evergreen, we've acquired over 100 companies. We've recently crossed $1 billion of total revenue.
Yes, we had big ambitions from the get-go. We set a big, hairy, audacious goal to get to $100 million of earnings by 2023.
I told Jeff he was nuts when he set the original goal of $100 million of EBITDA, because we'd never had a business that had grown to be that big. And so he beat that goal, and he beat it ahead of schedule.
Now, to refocus the organization, we've set a new big, hairy, audacious goal, which is to get to $1 billion of free cash flow by 2030.
He has set very high aspirations in terms of what he's hoping to accomplish, and I wouldn't bet against him.
Alpine taught us a great lesson, which was that people are a really critical input into driving best-in-class performance in a business. We have a fundamental philosophy at Evergreen that the best team wins.
Everything we do begins with who. When we acquire a business, we're thinking about who we need to hire into that business to catalyze growth. Who do we need to retain to keep the secret sauce that works for customers and works for the employees of the business that we're acquiring?
Hiring is the most important thing that we do. It's what I spend more time on than anything else. Getting the right people in these businesses is what drives the results.
In a majority of our deals within Evergreen, and this applies more broadly across Alpine, we are putting in our own talent. So it's very common that we invest in founder-owned and operated businesses where the founder doesn't have a natural successor within the business and they're getting to retirement age. And so we become a very unique buyer for that particular profile of founder.
I think about our first acquisition, Wolf Consulting. We put a tremendous amount of care. That was the business that was going to launch us and get us started.
Wolf Consulting is one of the companies within Lyra Technology Group. We more than doubled revenue and more than quadrupled EBITDA in that business. And Lyra as a whole has grown from $6 million of revenue to over 100 times larger than that.
And it's easy to think that we leverage our scale to get there, but ultimately it started with one business, Wolf Consulting. There was a small business serving the Pittsburgh area, and it's been one acquisition at a time since then. It's been one key hire at a time.
I started Wolf Consulting in 1989. Originally, we focused on developing custom database programs for businesses. A few years later, those clients wanted to run their custom programs on multiple computers in their office, and we got into computer networking. And as they say, the rest is history. My decision to sell the business was tough. This was my baby. I had owned and ran the business for 29 years. Making sure that I found the right buyer for the business was very important to me. I really wanted to protect my people. I wanted them to continue to have their jobs. I wanted them to have more opportunities to grow in the future. And that's one of the main reasons that I chose to sell the business to Evergreen.
The first thing we do is we do no harm, and that comes down to our decentralized operating structure. So we make sure we maintain the secret sauce that has made the companies we acquire successful. We're acquiring those businesses for a reason. They're serving customers well, they're serving employees well.
So our model is to keep local decision rights and then have some things that are common, finance, for example, where you do want to have that centralized just to make sure you're keeping a finger on the pulse.
We don't just want to be a business that acquires a bunch of companies and does not grow them organically. We want to be best in the world at capital allocation, and we want to be best in the world at organic growth. 2023 actually marked the fastest organic growth year we had ever had. We were able to grow in the mid-teens, which is 50% faster than the underlying organic growth rate of our industry.
Evergreen stood out from the other options that I had because they were going to hold the business for the long term and because they were going to allow the business to continue to run independently and not make it be just the Pittsburgh branch of a larger company.
We respect the business that you've built. We respect the people who are critical to the business that you've built.
And really our goal today is how do we treat every new acquisition the same way we treated Wolf Consulting, with the same level of care as if it's our first acquisition. And we've done 100 acquisitions that way.
We're doing what we said we were going to do, and that's preserving businesses, growing the legacies of founders, and continuing to serve their customers well. And that's really what a lot of founders want.
We have over a 90 net promoter score from our business owners that we've partnered with, which is an unheard of score, and it comes down to our focus on the industry and how we treat sellers. And we treat our reputation in the market as paramount. Our goal is to build the best home for businesses and their leaders, which means that if you're a small business owner in one of our verticals, you want to sell your business to Evergreen. And if you're a leader who wants to jumpstart your career managing a business, you want to do that at Evergreen.
I joined Evergreen because we are building the best home for businesses and their leaders. And I get to do that every day.
I'm most excited to build Evergreen into an important global institution that impacts hundreds, if not thousands of companies.
It's a pretty awesome thing to be 7 years into your business and feel like your best is yet to come.
We want to ultimately become the biggest and the best IT services company in the world.
We've spent the past 7 years developing a strategy that works. The next 7 years are about taking that strategy and scaling it. We're just getting started.